Welcome back to Great Sports Debates, and we are on our next installment of the greatest football players of recent times, going back about 40 years or so. There will be no Jim Brown or Johnny U, but we think the list will still be strong. The plan is for me to highlight the top guys at each position group, get feedback from you, the viewer, in the comment section, and end the series with the full team highlighting any changes made. And if we're covering defensive tackle today, I gotta start with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's just another player mocked to but passed on by my Detroit Lions. Donald can get to the quarterback like the others on this list, but can also defend the run at an elite level, tie up multiple blockers, and control the line of scrimmage almost like a Vince Wilfork type player. Donald is the most dominant and respected player I've ever seen that plays mostly in the middle of the defensive line. His peers have ranked him as high as 1 and 2 regardless of position. He's a 7-time All-Pro first team and has been to the Pro Bowl all 9 of his seasons so far. I typically try to avoid including current players, but Donald already has the top resume. He's a 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, tied for the most with LT and JJ Watt, who, spoiler alert, they'll be on their list as well. They are also the only 3 that have won back-to-back. Donald was also a member of the 2010s All-Decade team. He led the league in sacks with 20.5 in 2018, and I don't recall a defensive tackle ever getting that many previously. He also led the league in tackles for loss twice. Donald also set the record for a 40 time by defensive tackle at his Combine Day with a 4.68. Next on our list, maybe not quite at the same peak of Aaron Donald, but definitely consistently elite, was John Randle. For someone that mostly played inside, I believe his 137.5 sacks is first. In 1997, he led the league in sacks from the right defensive tackle position with 15.5. He also had double-digit sacks 9 times and was close to a couple of others. Randle was first-team All-Pro 6 years in a row and was a 7-time Pro Bowler, somehow missing in 92 and 99. Look at the numbers, look at the stats. He probably should have been there. Randle was a member of the 90s All-Decade team, as well as the oversized 100th anniversary team. He is considered by some the greatest undrafted player ever. Now, after John Randle, adding a third defensive tackle is kind of tough. There's several guys that are in a close tier together. How much do you value something like a player like Vince Wilfork provides, tying up blockers, being a run stuffer, or maybe a guy like Cortez Kennedy, who had outstanding moments in seasons and could do anything, but was just really on some terrible Seattle teams. But it's hard to ignore the inside pressure of a guy like Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp had some great years in the late 90s and the early 2000s, winning Defensive Player of the Year in 1999, and honestly probably should have won in 2000, despite how well Ray Lewis played on a great Ravens defense. Sapp was a 4-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second team, and 7-time Pro Bowler. I always get told how good guys like Bob Lilly were, but unfortunately I didn't get to see them. If there was a position or a player that I'm missing, this would probably be the spot, as it's really hard to evaluate defensive tackles. Honorable mention players would include Cortez Kennedy, Vince Wilfork, the underrated Ted Washington, who was a great run stuffer, current player Chris Jones, Keith Millard on the Vikings back in the day, Dana Stubblefield, Bryant Young, who is probably like the best inside player for a short period of time for a couple of years, Indomitian Sue, who is uber talented and probably could have been a lot better player if he figured out scheme and fit in a system better than kind of freelancing. Dan Hampton, going back to the early days of me watching football with the Chicago Bears and that great defense. Kevin Williams, and current player Fletcher Cox. I know that's a big list of honorable mention guys. I just kind of wanted to hit all the guys that I was thinking of like top tier defensive tackles. But keep me honest in the comments section, and let's build this team out strong. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share, and have a good day.